Big Pharma can't make any money out of this because it's an all-natural, organic, raw, unpasteurized food. And as a result, its profound health benefits, well, they're not really that well known. Everyone's heard of it. Most people have it in their food pantry, but hardly anyone is taking it on a regular basis. And that's crazy. So if you suffer from indigestion, bloating, high blood sugar, inflammation, skin problems, inflamed joints, cramps, low energy, then isn't a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar every day worth giving a go? And it is the simplest thing to take every day. And yes, I know you would have heard that this is good for you, but my guess is that you probably never knew why and how. I'm betting that you always thought that it was just another one of those trendy health food ideas that doesn't really have a lot of weight behind all of the claims. Basically, if Big Pharma can't make any money out of it, then there's not going to be a lot of dollars spent on promoting it. Well, I have been researching this golden liquid for the last 10 days, and honestly, I'm not sure how it's flown under my radar for so long. I guess I just thought, yes, I know it's healthy, but it's no big deal. I was so wrong. So what is apple cider vinegar? Apple juice is fermented, which means that the sugar in the apple juice feeds its resident population of bacteria without oxygen, and the byproduct of that is alcohol, apple cider. The alcohol breaks down and we end up with raw, unpasteurized, organic, loaded with good bacteria and enzymes, vinegar, otherwise known as acetic acid. And for apple cider vinegar to be beneficial, it does need to be raw, unpasteurized, and organic, preferably unfiltered too. Raw, which means it's loaded with enzymes, that helps you digest the food in your gut. Organic, so there's no chemical residues from pesticides and herbicides. And to be a real lifesaver for the gut, it should have a pH of around 3. If it's been heated, pasteurized, the good bacteria and the enzymes, they would have been completely destroyed. So you'd only be left with the acidity of the vinegar and miss out on all of the other benefits. Now, the one I have here is called Bragg's Apple Cider Vinegar, and it seems to be the most popular, the best all-rounder that I could find easily in my supermarket for a few dollars. It doesn't have to be refrigerated and it lasts for several years. Okay, so why should you take apple cider vinegar every day? Acidity in the stomach and small intestine is super important to break down food into tiny nutrients so that they can be absorbed into the blood, transported around the body, and delivered to all of your cells. So if you're not providing your gut with enough acidic food, then the environment in your gut will be way more alkaline. And that is not good. A really alkaline environment in the stomach and the small intestine is unfortunately a really great place for really bad bacteria to thrive and cause havoc. Now, we always have bad bacteria lurking everywhere in the body, in particular in the gut. It's totally normal, but if your diet is great, your immune system is working properly, they don't cause a problem at all. But if our gut is more alkaline than acidic, the bad bacteria, the pathogens, will basically throw a party and reproduce out of control. And that causes havoc in your gut with the classic symptoms of bloating, indigestion, gas, poor absorption of much-needed nutrients. The bacteria that makes us sick, like E. coli, salmonella, have a really hard time reproducing in an acidic environment, so you can keep them in check just by having a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar every day. In a nutshell, if your gut is not sufficiently acidic, the bad bacteria, the pathogens, will multiply and they will thrive. And hello to bloating, indigestion, stomachache, and feeling like a fat blob. Now, another reason to maintain acidity in the stomach and the small intestine is to ensure electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, calcium, and iron, are absorbed into the blood. These electrolytes, essential to be alive, all need an acidic environment to be absorbed, and they are not alone. Vitamin C and B12 rely heavily on the correct acidity, pH, to move into the blood. So if you are taking supplements of B12 or vitamin C or electrolytes, but your gut is not acidic, then you're kind of wasting your time and money because you will be peeing them out. They need acidity in the gut so that they can be transported from the small intestine and into the blood. And for those of us who are low in iron and take an iron supplement, be sure that your gut is acidic so that the iron will be absorbed into the blood. Without the correct pH, the iron ends up not being absorbed in the blood and instead going through the gut, causing bloating, stomachache, and constipation. Apple cider vinegar, it's quick, it's easy, 1 tablespoon in a glass of water, and you're done for the day. Moving on. Inflammation in the body, and we all have some or a lot of inflammation, and this is usually in the form of sore joints, aching muscles, skin problems, which always have inflammation, itchy skin, swollen body parts, and inflammation is a red flag to tell us that there's something wrong in that area. And as a result, basically your immune system is fighting something it's identified as a threat. Now, that's not always the case. The immune system can really overreact and cause inflammation for no reason in areas that are completely fine. So where does apple cider vinegar come into this? Apple cider vinegar has natural anti-inflammatory properties. Now, the medical industry does not support this, but it's interesting. The reviews from tens of thousands of people have claimed that apple cider vinegar has reduced the symptoms of arthritis and joint swelling. Now, I don't know about you, but I'll go along with the people who have tried it, says it works, and they did not earn anything from making this claim. And as if the medical industry and big pharma are going to say, oh, don't buy our anti-inflammatory drugs. All you need is some apple cider vinegar from the supermarket. Now, that would be suicide for one of the most profitable industries on the planet. And now some great news for the intermittent fasting keto diet people out there. Apple cider vinegar, as we know, increases the acidity in the gut. And this means glucose, sugar, is more readily transported from the gut and into your cells where it's needed to make your energy, which means less insulin being released. So insulin resistance is way less likely to happen. And this means more weight loss. And that's how apple cider vinegar became known as being great for weight loss. Additionally, the acidity in the stomach created by the apple cider vinegar stimulates the enzymes in the stomach and the small intestine to break down food more efficiently. Because the whole idea is to make sure the nutrients from your food are being absorbed from the small intestine into the blood. So the enzymes are essential in making this happen. If undigested food manages to get through the gut without being broken down properly, the nutrients from the food won't have been absorbed. Now, this next one came as a huge surprise to me. Apple cider vinegar reduces the symptoms of acid reflux. What the? It doesn't seem to make sense. Acid reflux is when the stomach acid moves the wrong way up through your esophagus and you feel the burn of that acid in your chest area. And when that happens, most people reach for the antacid tablets, Mylanta, Gaviscon, which raises the pH, making your stomach more alkaline and less acidic. Now, the acidity in your stomach should be around a pH of 3 or below. When the acidity is lost in the stomach, there's a problem. Whatever acid that remains in the stomach, it starts to move up. It starts to rise up into the esophagus. So the cure is not to get rid of the acidity with antacids. The answer is to increase the acidity with something like apple cider vinegar. Now, the first time I heard this, it sounded nuts. Acidity in your esophagus, and the advice is to take more acid. If you have heartburn, acid reflux, try 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and see how quickly the burn in your chest stops. What happens is that the acidity of the vinegar, it reaches the stomach, the one-way valve in your esophagus, it closes, and the problem, it's gone. And then there's the digestion and absorption of fats and protein. Now, bile is required to break down fats in the small intestine. Bile is produced in the liver, it's stored in your gallbladder, and released into the gut when it's needed to digest fats. But for bile to be released, the pH in the gut, it needs to be acidic. So by increasing the acidity, you increase the production of bile for better digestion of fats. And talking of proteins, the breakdown of proteins into amino acids proves to be way more efficient when the gut is acidic. And lastly, you may or you may not have ever suffered from stomach ulcers. And these ulcers are often caused by a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. They thrive in an alkaline environment, a high pH. And you can avoid this from happening by simply taking, drumroll, apple cider vinegar. So if you want to be vibrant, energized, healthy, you have to take care of your gut with the right pH and beneficial bacteria. Other foods that will make your gut happy with similar effects as apple cider vinegar, things like sauerkraut, kombucha, and pickles. Guys, thank you for listening. Love your digestive system. Let me know how you go and give it a thumbs up if you like this video. I will see you next week.